What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning to another episode of Right on Cue Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Logan Chestnut. Joining me tonight is my barbecue brother, Mr. Matt Osmond from Blinky's Barbecue, one of the best barbecue joints in all of Nashville, and for all your bachelorette needs. He's got the meat.
Hey, somebody's got to provide, right?
We got to figure out a way to incorporate barbecue and bachelorettes.
So I got a buddy who's got a food truck. He has set up at downtown at where is it? Larry Flint's Hustler, and he does the like 12.
Yeah, that's where all the girls are.
Well,
at the titty bar.
But to that point, he has told me there are so many bachelorette parties that will come through there. He's
that's
like,
true,
you
actually.
don't even understand. And I was like,
no, that's true. That's true.
That's genius because they don't serve any food in there. That's not what they're serving up to eat. You know, they
little clam chowder.
No. Yeah, exactly. People are coming out, they're buying his barbecue, and they're going straight in. But he's got a cap, and guess what? It's all cash too. It's all cash.
No, we got to figure out where they're doing the Thunder Down Under set, and then get you set up in that parking lot, because that would just be rolling, like sell nothing but hot dogs out there. I probably you'll kill it.
Did you see what's that new it's on, I think it's Netflix, Landman with
yes.
Okay. That
Billy
whole
Bob Thornton, great show.
Yeah, bikini and bruise, that whole like aspect of how they go there.
Yeah, they got that in Nashville.
Here? Where?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot what it's called, because after I watched Landman, I was like, what, they got that in Nashville? Like, that's a good idea. And then they do. There's like two of them somewhere.
Hey, I mean, I get it. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just coffee. But no, it's a great idea. So,
what would you do? So, you're on the show Landman. You roll up to the window. What are you ordering?
Definitely not coffee black. I hate coffee flavored coffee. Like, that's just a me thing. Okay, I get it. I really only started drinking coffee after I got with my now wife.
So they're gonna cuss at you, right?
Pretty much, yeah. No, I gotta have like, what's the Beastie Boy lines? I like my sugar with coffee and cream. Like, no, I don't like coffee flavored coffee. I'm not.
Dude, I kind of felt bad for that dude whenever he rolled up and he ordered a latte or something. And
they were just ranking.
Hell no.
Yeah. Yeah. And all the guys are beeping.
Yeah. They're like, we're trying to get this shit going. I'm like, screw you, man. And then the next one's like, what are you gonna do? I like that. Man, it's a great show. I've really got into it. It's anything with Billy Bob Thornton is good. Like, I like Goliath.
What's the woman character? It's the same chick who was in Varsity Blues with the whipped cream.
Oh, that is her.
That is her.
I knew I liked her for a reason.
Yeah.
No.
She's
I just pray to God.
A little bit, but she, you know, as an actress, she's put together.
She still got a cherry on top. She still got the cherry on top.
Yeah.
But no, man. So how's getting away from this? How's things been your way, man?
Things are good. It's
a little slow this time of year.
Yeah, I kind of downshift with the trailer. It's, you know, barbecue, bulk orders, smoked turkeys, hams, sides, brisket chilies, and whatnot. I'm staying busy with that. Oh, I mean, listen, we are officially, if you didn't know, breaking news, we are officially in chilly weather, like
100% chilly weather.
Yeah. I made a no bean chili. I made a no bean chili on Sunday.
They call that a Texas sloppy Joe.
I need beans in my chili, and I get it. Some people don't, but I made it, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, explain to me this, man, and our guest tonight will definitely be able to enlighten us on this topic, being a big Texan himself. But naming the difference between a sloppy Joe and a Texas chili.
Spice. That's about the only thing I got. That's it. Or sour cream.
You put sour cream on anything, man. What are you talking about?
No. I don't put sour cream on nothing. No, sir. No. I am a non-cream soured individual. Literally the name sour cream.
I
get it.
Wasn't that your nickname in college?
One of them. Spin boy.
Spin boy. Salad shooter. No, no, man. But let's get to our guests tonight, man. They're not here to see us. They're here to see our guest, the man of the hour. We got a great one for you guys tonight, man. If you're familiar with Texas and barbecue or beautiful red beards, this man is the top of the list. So it's a privilege and an honor to have this man on. The world champs in the house. That's all I'm going to say. Absolutely. So without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Phil Breeden from LC BBQ. What's up?
What's up, fellas? Man, this beard used to be red. Man, red outnumbered these days.
Dude, I'm so if I grew my beard as luscious as yours, like this would definitely be the same little white point as yours is, because my wife goes, I like the salt and pepper. I said, it's a lot more salt and pepper now, man. It's
salt's coming heavy.
Salt's hard. Yeah.
Every year I'm running out of red. And then putting on that, this is like probably, man, I don't know. I guess it was probably 8 or 9 years ago when it started being like pretty noticeable with the white. And then one day, I'm at CVS and I'm like, man, it's just for me, and they got the red. I'm just gonna feather that right out, man. We're not going white yet. I wasn't ready to go white in the beard.
Yeah.
So I got this, really expensive just for men red beard dye. It wasn't even beard dye; I think it was hair or whatever. And I brought it home, and I didn't think much of it. And I think it was the next day, and Carmen was like, "Man, what is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna dye my beard." No, you're not. so we don't have the privilege of seeing how that story turned out. And then this is a week ago. She's like, "You need to dye your beard." And I'm like, "You don't remember this story 10 years ago when you shut me down on this forbid?" So.
My wife will straight up divorce me if I ever get I tell my wife, men don't have much power in a relationship when it comes to holding something over your head. So my wife, if she ever gets if I ever get really mad at her, she really makes me mad. I'm like, I'm gonna shave this thing. I'm gonna go baby face, straight baby, because my wife's older than me, and that's the last thing she wants me to look any younger. She's like,
"Have you met my son?"
Not
good.
Yeah.
I had a job in Atlanta when I had a cup of coffee and moved down there, and working in food and beverage, our district manager would not allow management to have a beard. Like anybody else in F&B could, but managers had to be clean shaven. My
Nazis.
wife was irate. She was Irish. She's like, "You look, like she loathed."
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, no, it was quite terrible all the way across.
Yeah. My wife, she told me one time, she said, "If you lose yours, I'm gonna grow mine." I'm like, "All right, I won't shave it." I promise.
That's funny.
But no, man, Phil, like I said, thank you so much for coming on, man. You're definitely a big icon when it comes to Texas barbecue and barbecue in general, honestly. But I want to do the most basic podcast question that you've never heard before. Let people know who don't know, who've been living under a rock, who you are and how you came up with the LC barbecue.
Yeah. How many minute version do you want of that? You want the 30-second, 2 minute, or 12?
Dealer's choice, man. Dealer's choice.
Yeah, I'm Phil Breeden, LC Barbecue. Man, I've been doing competition barbecue since 2015, so almost 10 years now. And when I first started competing, my team name was Lucky Charms. Fast forward a few years after that, and came out with my first product was Foul Play. And man, I just didn't really want General Mills mooching off of me. I'm like, I'm not going Lucky Charms, And we ended up abbreviating Lucky Charms. That's how we came up with LC Barbecue. And yeah, man. So fast forward a few years after that, since 2021, we've been doing barbecue full time. We compete full time, and then obviously have the rubs and injections, and continue to work hard to build our product line, and as well as compete every weekend. So.
Nah, I get it, man. I get it, man.
2 minute version.
Yeah, well, what he left out is this man has over 90 grand champion and reserve grands. Let's see, you're the 2024 Australian ABA world champion. You see, 2024 grand champion of Smoking on the Rio. And, you did a clean sweep of the IBCA in Texas one or two times.
Yeah, man.
So
Done a
much
lot of
that.
winning. Done a lot of winning over the years, man. We've
And
been really blessed.
what was the brisket called? The Jack recently?
Yeah, it was a good one. That's
That
what
was
I called
halfway
out.
decent.
That was a good one. Yeah, we won first place brisket at the Jack this year. Man, I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, the way I think it, and if you could pick one brisket call in the world, that would probably be it, right? So, and
Yeah.
you know, we didn't really go there with that. Like, I hope we win first place brisket at the Jack, but we'll sure shit take it.
Hell yeah. I mean, you're primarily in Texas, and I mean, you do what majority CBA right now?
Yeah. So I don't know. I probably did. Well, I did less than 10 because I fell into the 10 cook-off category in KCBS this year. I think we were like 9th on that list or whatever. So we did, quite a few KCBS this year, 9 or 10 or whatever that ended up being. And then, back in 2021, I think we cooked 40 KCBS that year. But we spent a lot of time on the road and we burned a lot of diesel, and we kind of wanted to do that just to, broaden the range of folks that know us and know our products. It's one thing, and I can't say guilty of that. We're just built that way, right? You see stuff on the internet, you see a brand, you see this, and you don't know them. It doesn't really mean anything. You see it, and it takes so ever many repetition times of seeing that for it to become familiar to you, where you feel like you do. But then you meet that person, and you're like, man, I know that guy. I met that guy. That guy was cool, or whatever. And it just makes it that much more personal, and it seems to.
Sure.
And that wasn't even really intentional while we did it, but it turned out to have those effects. So, which was another reason, man, it's really hot in Texas in the summer, and man, in May, I think March 27th, it was 100 degrees. So by the time May gets here, it's 100 degrees every day. And man, this summer, it's kind of like a goal of mine for the rest of my life is not to spend the summer in Texas. Man, it's miserable.
How long is what's closest? Is Arkansas? Is Arizona? Or New Mexico? What's your next state hour drive from home? Like door to state line is what?
Yeah, Mexico. Mexico's my next one. Okay. I can be in Mexico in 2 hours. That's as quick as I can get out of Texas.
So you're South Texas then?
Yeah, I'm close to San Antonio. So New Mexico is I can be cross state line in 6 hours, I think, 6.5, 6 or 7. Go to straight north. I would end up going through Wichita Falls and crossing into Lawton, Oklahoma, right there. That's like 6.5, 6.5 on that route. And then if I go towards like Texarkana to go towards, Tennessee, half of my drive to Lynchburg is in Texas. So it's over 7 hours for me to get to Texarkana, 7.5, something like that.
That's insane.
If I go to Louisiana, it's, I think 5.5, 6 hours to hit the state line.
Coming from this way, going towards West Texas, my wife's family went. It's 40 to 30 to 20. Oh yeah, you step your way down. Yeah, for sure, all the way across. Yep.
Yeah. Until you finally get to nothing.
I've driven from East Texas to West Texas, from Texarkana all the way to El Paso on I-10. It was over after Christmas, getting to Vegas for New Year's. And my favorite town along the way was Junction, Texas, where there was a subway, but not a stoplight, and a gas station. I was thankful for both of those. So,
man, there's a lot more. I don't know when that was. There's a lot more. That's an hour from me. And there's a lot. I say there's a lot more. There's a few more gas stations. They got a McDonald's. I mean, they've really blown up.
This would have been like 06, maybe 07 or
20 years later or whatever. They've got a couple. Yeah, I got a big truck stop there.
But you know where that's at. Like it was, and once you get past
it's every town's about an hour in between towns, and the towns aren't big. So you have Fort Stockton, and then just keep going, and it gets pretty sparse. Man, don't be rolling on a quarter tank when you roll out that.
No, sir.
That would be embarrassing. All that oil and run out of gas in Texas. It's just.
Oh man,
they do it all the time. And there's places it's 100 miles to the next gas station. They'll have signs saying that too.
Yeah. And
Next gas station, 100
the
miles.
speed limit goes like 80 or 85, and which to me is like, hey, just go, just get out of here, just get to the next. And
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to tell you to go 100, but man, we're highly encouraging it. You know what I mean? Pick up on the vibe.
Well, man, going back to barbecue. So, how long? Like, what made you start doing competitive barbecue? How'd you kind of get in that realm?
Yeah, so that was back in 2014. It was in the fall, and I was on a deer lease in Sour Lake. That's where I lived at the time. And man, I had a buddy of mine who, man, we were going out there a couple times a week and just cooking at the deer camp, hanging out, drinking beer, and man, they had a offset smoker out there. Man, we bring some meat, whatever that was, whether it be a chicken, ribs, or a deer or a wood duck that we killed in the woods. And man, we were just cooking a lot. And there were 12, 15 other guests out, other members out there. And man, they were loving, like, man, y'all cook anytime, so they were just loving all the barbecue and all that. And my buddy had done some, it's Rob Rogers, a buddy of mine. And he had done some comps for, man, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. He would do 5 or 6 comps a year. So man, he knew, he asked me, he's like, man, you should do a barbecue competition. And I looked at him, I said, they have those? I'm like, I never heard of them. And he said, oh yeah, man, there's one next month. I'll up there in Silsby at the Honky Tonk. I'll get the info. He goes, man, I'll get us all signed up. I'll cook it with you, man. I'm like, man, it sounds good to me. Shit. I better get to work building some smokers because I didn't have a smoker at the time. And man, I did. So I had this bright idea that I was going to, everybody was cooking like ugly drum smokers, UDS what's that stand for? I mean, I'm telling you. And he's like, oh yeah, man, it's just trash cans, and I got to looking at that and I'm like, well, shit, if that's good, man, it'd probably be better if I made one out of a whiskey barrel. That would be better. And man, that's what I did. I built 2 of them. I had another buddy who, man, he was in, he was a really good customer of the liquor stores. So he was in with the liquor stores, and he said, man, I'll go up there. I'll get you a couple of those barrels. Anyway, he did. And man, I had like, I don't know, a month to build smokers, and I turned them into a drum smoker. And that's what we had 2 of those. And that's what I cooked that first competition on, is those whiskey barrels.
So I've seen those. How does that explain? Pause for a second, if you will. Like, you're just putting coals still in a basket, kind of same way as a typical drum, or is there a concern about the alcohol volume? Like, explain that for me.
Oh yeah, well, man, the main concern, which I didn't really see it as so much of a concern going into it, but I ended up doing 2 competitions on those, and on the second one, man, I was really pretty green into this, and I'm jumping ahead, but the second competition, man, we got there Friday, and man, I'm ready to cook. I am fired up, and I told Rob, I said, man, I think I'm going to cook some ribs tonight. I'm going to practice. This is Friday night. Genius idea, just so genius. And I was carrying these 2 whiskey barrels on like my lawnmower trailer, right? Just a little utility trailer. And the first contest, we had rolled those out, kind of set it up, this and that. That second contest, I said, man, fuck all that. I don't know how y'all roll in this show. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
And all right, we're non-monetized, right?
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, man, I'm just leaving these up here. Man, I ain't rolling them all. It's a lot of work. So I did. And then I get to cooking these ribs, and it's dark, I mean, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and the ribs aren't done. We're drinking beer, making all these great decisions. And man, I'm up there on that trailer, and I'm looking at that smoker, and I keep looking, and I'm like, shit, that's a lot of smoke, And so I'm looking at it, and man, I'm like, man, that smoke is, because it's weird. It really wasn't smoking out of the top, it was smoking more out of the bottom. So
yeah, I bet.
I get to look at this, and I just kind of, take and roll that barrel. And man, there's a hole in the bottom of that trailer. It doesn't burn a hole through them boards. and this is half of my cookers for tomorrow, so we got a problem. And I'm like, whoa, shit. And man, the trailer floor is gone. I mean, it's through the trailer, and there's coals on the boards, and we roll it off, we get on the ground. I'm like, man, shit, what are we gonna do? And Kevin Miller's out there. I think it was Kevin Miller who said, man, we were cooking at the Buna Little League. And he said, man, we go over there to second base and we get us a bucket full of 60-40, put it in the bottom, you'll be fine. And that's what we did. And it was good enough to make it through that cook-off the next day. And I retired the barrels after that cook. I immediately said, man, if I'm going to do this for any kind of longevity, I'm going to have a smoker that lasts a little longer. We need to go. We need to go something metal. Leading into that story after another, but man, that's when I quickly went to work the next month and built the smoker that I've cooked on since then, for almost 10 years now. And it's a reverse flow offset. It's fully insulated. And man, I don't know if you guys know, but man, I'm starting to produce those. And in fact, we're almost finished with Bill's. Bill's got one on order, and we're about done with that. So anyway, all those stories tie in eventually, I guess.
Heck yeah, man.
The longevity on the Breeden smoker is much better than the barrels, man.
I want those whiskey. I'm from Kentucky originally, man. So what you're saying is that's how we get that heavy char bourbon.
So to answer your question, Matt, on the barrels, man, the liquor saturation or anything like that was not the problem. On one of those, I had built like a almost like a metal liner in there, right, to protect the wood. And the other one, I kind of ran out of time, and I'm like, man, I just went to Tractor Supply and got one of those feed bucket like things.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
hey, that'll be good enough. Well, it wasn't good enough, right? But the other one actually held up. But I mean, it was a matter of time. So unless you soak them or something, right, like week after week and rehydrate them, all you're doing is kindling that wood. But the flavor was retarded, man. I cooked 2 competitions on those barrels, and I hit first place brisket both times. Wow. Now, I didn't hit shit and chicken. I didn't hit shit and ribs either time, but I hit first place brisket both times at those comps. So, man, all I've ever done is hit first place brisket on a whiskey barrel. And that record's going to stay just like that.
2-0.
I don't think anybody's going to take that one from you, man. I don't think. I mean,
I'm just saying I'm not going to go 2 for 3. 2 for 2.
At the Royal, we were over towards Pit Row and watching, and I forget the team, and I apologize for forgetting it, but they had a barrel that they were putting their pork on, except instead of being vertical, it was horizontal. Yeah. And it was almost like a tray to slide in and slide out. And I mean, I had heard of whiskey barrel smoke, and I was like, okay, I see what you're doing. I have no idea where they place or whatnot, but I was like, all right. And they're like, oh, we just started on this whiskey barrel. It's our starter, and then it goes to the pit. And I was like, hey, I'm not knocking it. I was just admiring from afar.
Man, I love it. I love cooking on different things. Like back in a few months ago, it was dove season. And I went out to a buddy's, and man, he's like, man, check out the Thunderbird. He had taken a Thunderbird, the front half of a car, and turned it into a smoker. And it was a live coals. You shovel coals in the bottom. Man, I went to the store, bought all kinds of stuff. We're cooking, man. And man, all I did it rained. We weren't really even hunting. And man, all I did for 2 days was just cook and have a ball. Just like it's something new, man. You know what I mean? So all that, something unique, just man, does it for me. I love it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one at deer camp who really don't care if I kill anything. It's all about cooking and hanging out and having a good time, man. That's kind of how it is up this way.
We check all them boxes, but man, we do end up filling a few tags. So
yeah, man. Yeah, we got plenty. I get lazy, man, because I'll be out there, and if it's like really late and I see a deer, I'm like, man, because that's when I see a lot of my deer is like, right before nightfall comes, and I'm like, man, do I want to spend another hour to like.
Would I rather go watch a football game and get me a whiskey?
yeah, exactly. I can't tell you how many lives football and whiskey is of deer that's saved. I'm like, no, you live another day. You live another day.
Right on. I haven't
no.
quite learned that preservation yet, but I'm getting close, man. My shoulders remind me of it. Rotator cuffs are gone. The body's wearing down. And, man,
Yeah.
Reed's he's good help on cleaning them deer, but, man, he's like 65 pounds. I need to grow up a little bit, man. He's 11. He's close. He's close.
Man, did you ever see those YouTube guys? There's this Mexican guy that does, like, he guts, cleans, and capes a deer, and I think it was like 90 seconds. Or I'm like, I will hire you to come to deer camp, sir. I will buy your plane ticket and fly you up. He does the old you see where they make a little slit in the pelt, and then they put the air hose in there and they spray it all the skin.
Yeah.
And then he just yanks it down, and then he takes I want whatever his knives are too. I want, because he's like he got the head off in 2 whacks. I'm like, what are you using? I can do that in a chainsaw, and he's over here. He's like, what? All right, done. I'm like, some people just have skill.
I've seen the golf ball method. I mean, that was popular 20 years ago, or so, where they wrap that golf ball and then they just get a rope and yank it all off.
Yeah.
Never tried it. And I'm thinking too much setup.
Y'all got mule deer down there, don't you, in Texas?
No, man, we're probably a couple hours, another couple hours west. You'll start 2 or 3 hours west. You'll start getting in the mule deer. So it's really, whitetail. Yeah, we're in whitetail country. I'm in the hill country. I'm about an hour from San Antonio, and, man, there's a lot of free range exotics out here too, like axis, black buck. Fallow. Really? Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, the hill country, and I guess
some ranch fences fall down or something, and it started populating.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So I guess it was back in the 50s or the 60s. Don't quote me. When African big game first got brought over here, and the Texas hill country figured out, hey, if we make high fences and have these, and then, man, people like to hunt and kill them. So then commercially it grew and grew and grew. And then now you have all these huge ranches around here that, brought in exotics. There's exotic sales where, you'll have people go trap exotics. They'll load them into a stock trailer, drag them to the exotic sale. People with ranches go buy them. So they're just like livestock. They're not native to Texas, and there's no season on them. So, like axis, man, you can kill 24/7, 365. Shoot them, you spotlight them, and they're more delicious than beef. And they're in my yard. Some of them are still left in my yard, and so yeah, as far as the exotics are really, really popular where we're at. And then we got whitetail, no mule deer. They're further out west. Matt, where's your family from? You said West Texas?
Well, that's my wife's family. I'm originally from Miami. But my wife is all about West Texas. I've been there.
I met your family now. Now.
Yes.
For now. I mean, after the show, who knows?
If you don't embrace it, it's going to be for now.
For now.
But no,
so you guys go south, like back. You got to go out past Junction a couple hours to get into mule deer country, and then go towards El Paso. So
I got you.
The western half of the total population in the western half of Texas is like 1,000 total. It's just not many people.
Man, let's move back to barbecue a little bit, man. I wanted to ask you, man. You got to go overseas this year and compete. You cook all over the U.S., but then is that your first time cooking outside the country?
Yeah, it was. Not
How
really.
Was that?
Oh, it was incredible. And in fact, we're trying to make some plans to go back over there. Awesome. Turns out, so I'll talk about it a little bit, but Grant Coleman reached out to, man, I don't know, probably a dozen or so teams in Texas, and he's president of the ABA, the Australian Barbecue Association, and he was putting together that World Championship in July of this past year, and he was reaching out to international teams who he thought might be interested. And me and Bill talked about it. We both got that. I said, we talked about it. I said, man, I'd be down. He's like, I'd be down. So we started talking to Grant, like, yeah, man, we would like to go. And then, man, we'd like to do some classes over there too, if we could. Grant, no problem. So Ended up, long story short, man, 4 or 5 months before we went, we booked flights. Man, we had, I don't know how many Zoom calls, like meetings to, once every few weeks or whatever, once a month, just to coordinate, and because we'd lined it up to be over there for almost a month. We were over there almost 30 days. So yeah, man, Grant and Nate Blackledge, man, helped round up and coordinate all of our equipment that we needed to borrow. I mean, I showed up with a pair of scissors. Let's do this, boys. We ended up cooking 3 competitions, and me and Bill did 2 master classes over there, and we were over there for about 30 days, and it was just an incredible trip. And man, I didn't realize a few things. One, that Australia is as big as it is. Like, man, I guess in my mind, like, man, I thought it was kind of like the size of Texas, maybe a little bigger.
It's big, way bigger than Texas.
Yeah, like it's bigger than the United States. It's really big. So just the enormity of it, I didn't really realize. And then I didn't realize that, I guess maybe I never thought about it, but man, their climate is like exactly opposite of ours. So while it's 178 degrees in Texas, man, it's 36 degrees with snow flurries in the Blue Mountains and just outside of Sydney. So man, I was digging the weather. It probably like averaged in the 50s the whole time we were over there. Wow. So that's like, man, right up my alley. So yeah, I would like to spend as many Texas summers in Australia as I can.
Go back to that for a second. You said 3 comps in about a month?
Yeah, we flew in. I don't remember the dates, but say we got there like on a Wednesday, did a master class on Thursday, and then went to a comp in Penrith. It's about an hour outside of Sydney. Friday, Saturday comp. Man, I don't know, 30, 35 teams, something like that. And then we had 2 weeks until the next one. So we flew up to Cairns, which is where the Great Barrier Reef is, and the wild wanted to go do that. And man, it's a big, really big ship, and they got a bar on there with cold beer. And man, the weather was cool, so I drank beer and like looked out at the pretty blue. I don't go in the water. I'm not going in the water. We had a good time doing all that, man. It was beautiful. Took a lot of great pictures, and we did a couple chartered fishing trips and caught, man, I don't know, Australian fish. We caught like 25 different things, and man, I couldn't tell you 22 of them. I know Bill caught a big horn shark. It was like 5 foot long and it looked like it had graffiti sprayed on it. It's the coolest looking shit. And man, I don't know, dragon snapper. I think we caught some of those. And
nice.
Did y'all cook any of that up?
Man, yeah, we did. We actually did cook some of that up a couple different times. And then one of the fish, when we were up in Cairns, Bubba caught. It was silver queen's fish. I don't know. I really can't remember the name of it. I don't remember what. But the guy was like, man, that's good to eat. And it weighed like, I don't know, 6 pounds maybe. So we took that up to one of the restaurants up on the water, and man, they almond crusted. It was just beautiful and delicious. So man, that was really fun. Flew down to Brisbane. That's on the East Coast. And man, it's kind of tropical over there. So it would be, and it was, in the 70s or whatever. But I'm like, this is kind of hot. Let's go back. But we did a master class over there, and that would say it was like on maybe I guess the Thursday on the in-between weeks, right? And then spent a few more days down there, just, dinners and seeing Australia or whatever. And then flew down to Newcastle and then spent a couple of days down there getting ready for that double header weekend. So we did 1 comp, skipped 2 weeks, and then did a double header. So that's the 3 comps and then, 2 classes. I think one was on the weekend before, like on the middle week or whatever. And then, yeah, so we stayed busy, man. There wasn't a whole lot of downtime. And we were going to go, man. We were going to go to hunting camp. Yeah, I had that lined out too, but a storm moved in, and man, they got a bunch of snow and bad weather, so it ended up not happening or whatever. So maybe next year.
Man, that's awesome, dude. So what's like the barbecue scene in Australia? Is it? I mean, you said 35 teams at a contest. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was and that was, that was just a contest. The world, so they had the invitational on that Saturday, and then they had the open, the Australian barbecue championship on the Sunday. And man, I think there was, man, don't get 46 to 48, 46, 48 teams. Those
I mean, good
contests.
size contest. I mean,
Yeah, and think about it this way, and this is how I thought of it. The problem is, like, man, so barbecue's really big over there, really passionate about it. Probably compare it to kind of like Texas, barbecue's really big in the whole state. Barbecue,
I mean, they're big cattle there too.
Yeah, and man, very proud of that. Man, they have awesome cows over there. Man, their cattle is, man, it's
Free
really,
range.
really good. It's really, really good beef. Yeah. Man, their pigs, they're trying,
Wow.
The pigs are not our pigs.
Sure.
But logistically, when they have these comps, man, think of it this way. So, man, it's as big as the United States, and they have a comp. Okay, that comp is in San Antonio, Texas. Well, their entire, like all the teams, which, man, I don't know if there's a couple hundred, just say. Well, it would be all scattered across the United States. So you would have teams in New Orleans, Miami, South Carolina, then up because everything in Australia is mainly, 90% of the population is within an hour of the coast. So everything's on the perimeter. And, we flew up from Sydney to Cairns, and man, that's a 28-hour drive. I mean, it's like a 5-hour flight, but it's, I don't know, 28-hour drive. So logistically, to pull a contest together, man, they all got to travel a long ways, so it is, man, pretty spectacular. They are drawing, a 30-team contest because, man, that don't all pop up out of that little city wherever they have it, And you got New Zealand right there. And, man, there's a lot of teams in New Zealand that are flying to these contests in Australia, So if they cooked every one they could, man, they probably could cook maybe 30 a year. You know what I mean? So they just don't have, like all the different outlet, it's just bigger here and more opportunity, and we don't have the logistics problems in most cases. It's challenging depending on where you live. If you're in Idaho, you're probably gonna have to travel a little bit. But everywhere in Australia, they
meat stock down there, meat stock is growing from what I understand, talking to folks who have been like year over year with its popularity. And I mean, it's obviously, we're seeing all the stuff from the States, but there's tons of folks who are making that trek out over there. So that's beginning to be a global event, because they also do it is it South America that they do?
Yeah, so they do. I think they do 5 of those a year. And Jay Beaumont, I think he heads that up, right? He was in Australia, and I met him over there, and we talked about it a little bit. They're in Brazil, Australia. I know they have one in New Zealand. I've been talking to some guys about maybe going over in February for that one. I don't know where else, but I know those off the top of my head. And it really is, man. And that's a cool thing because, they'll take and have the competition aspect to it. They'll have a bunch of live fire going on. They'll get some really cool bands and music, and man, they'll run 50,000 people through that thing. So then you have more like an American Royal environment, right? To where it just, man, I haven't been to a meat stock yet. It's on my list to do. But man, to me, it'd be like an American Royal environment. And man, I love the American Royal, man.
They need to do one of those they do one of those in America. They don't do a meat stock in America.
Man, I don't know if they do or not.
They need to. They don't. So. I mean, they're missing a Texas-sized opportunity there.
No, I mean, what is the biggest barbecue event in the States? Windy City Smokeout or Big Apple or
what's that? What was the question?
What's the biggest barbecue event in the U.S.? It's got to be Windy City or Big Apple or
there's a couple one-offs.
And theoretically, it could be the Royal.
How big are those? I'm not familiar with those. How big are those? What's the crowd?
Windy City Smokeout. They shut down. What's that street that the northern or western side that parallels the river going into Chicago?
Is that the one that's like all celebrity chefs that do the cooks and they have like celebrity teams?
Yeah, but it
That may be
also
that
is,
one.
is
I mean, it's
half
not
the
compared to
same.
American Royal. It's not like as the Royal. The American Royal is probably the biggest thing in America, I would think.
Well,
As
I
far
can
as
tell you
the
this.
street size.
It would be different criteria. If we're talking the Royal, you're over 500 teams. There's no competition in the world as big as the Royal. So the Royal's the largest by sheer means of competitor size.
Yeah.
And they'll draw crowds too. Man, easy 10,000 a night. So just say they're running maybe, I don't know, 20, 30,000 people through that whole event, in a weekend that they do. And then, okay, let's move over to Houston Rodeo. Man, they're rolling 50,000 people a night through
that's
there. They've got roughly 300 teams, and every team there is in a tent. Well, not every.
most.
At least half, maybe 2/3, whatever, is in a tent the size of half a football field, right? These are structures. They'll hire a construction crew to go build a tent in whatever that time frame is, 7-10 days or whatever. They'll have it wired. I mean, it's a building.
Have you been to Memphis, Phil?
I haven't.
Okay. What the first time I went to Memphis and was part of a team, I was like, "Oh, there's it!" And somebody come up, he put his hand, and he says, "You ever been to rodeo?" I said, "No, sir." He says, "This ain't shit." And I was like, "Okay," because Memphis is looked at as, and it has been, and it is,
yeah,
it's very prestigious. I mean,
but not to the Mecca, not to the grandeur, the size, the scope of what rodeo like.
Man, they all have their lure, right? Like the jack.
yeah.
That's the hardest contest in the world to get into, right? That's the draw on the jack, man. It's the most prestigious. It's just super hard, especially from Texas, man. There's going to be 230 to 250 bungs in a bag, and they're going to draw one. We don't get drawn in Texas. You got to get there. You got to go find an auto and get there. You got to go win 7. You got to win one of the big ones.
Which did you double this past year?
No, I didn't. Well, I had 7, so
but you didn't double with.
No, I didn't have anything else that qualified for it.
I got you.
When I did that, I had a 50-50 draw in Utah because I won that contest just outside of.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on 6, right? And man, I just know my luck. Man, it's 50-50 means I ain't getting drawn.
Because that's how Smitty got in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because they pulled my bung out, right? So that gave Vince out of Arizona, Rhythm and Q, an auto. And then he was 50-50 with Chris Webb, Bushmaster out of Colorado, because they both won a Montana contest.
Yeah.
Well, when Vince got in, that pulled him out. That gave Chris an auto to Montana. And man, I think Smitty got home state. Man, it gets complicated.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure how to further than that. Man, I don't know. I know those effects of it though, which was pretty cool, right? And I mean, that last couple of weeks, man, a lot dropped because I think there was only like one that had 7 going into it. Brad qualified pretty early, March or April. I don't remember. It was pretty early. And
Brad did well. Brad, Rooters and Tutors, and
the Rooters and Tutors was the last weekend. I was the last day. I think Rooters might have been 2, or maybe it was Saturday. They were on double and they won theirs, right?
Did Jordan double auto with 7 and
he did? He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Jordan's on fire. We talking about?
Yeah.
That man got the golden. He had the golden goose this year, man. He couldn't lose.
He just had his first of his 23 classes this past weekend. That's cool.
I know, man. Everybody, all the scores are going to go sky high now. Everybody's seen Jordan in your classes.
Bert and Ernie this past weekend, barbecue jackpot. Chrissy's thing. I mean, number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a question from Buzz, good friend of the pod, and I know he flew out and took your class, but what is the access to that? That's another thing. Did you ship a lot of your LC products over to Australia, and that's what you use, and what you cook on down there? Like what they kind of piece together?
Yeah, so I did. Nate Blackledge, and he has a barbecue supply company. So he had got the products over probably, man, I don't remember. maybe a year before that or whatever. And then, man, me and Bill put a shipment together as reinforcements, and then kind of what we would need to basically run our program.
Right.
They don't have all the same product. They've got a lot over there, and they got a lot of great products, but we're going over there kind of blind, and so I should.
If you can speak to that specifically, like, yes, they have an offset, or yes, but is there oak? Is there the same charcoal?
Yeah.
Is there like what meat are you sourcing? I mean, a chicken is a chicken, but a beef's not, or a hog's not a hog.
Guys that came with a backbone in them, we did. Okay. It's totally different, right? So smokers, man, I had an offset rig. Man, it was kind of like a pull behind trailer to where, man, I was operating the offset on one side, and it had where you could walk up and cabinets on there. So it was kind of designed as a haul behind and do a comp, pull behind offset or whatever.
Straight flow or reverse?
It was straight. It was not revert. It was not revert. I'm pretty sure it was not revert flow. I'm going by memory. I don't think it was. The wood, man, we used iron bark. That's, I guess, the most popular over there. I don't know if it's the most, but it seemed like everybody was using iron bark. So it's a type of wood. The best I recall. And man, I know that you take a split of that versus it's super dense. Man, it's really, really heavy. And man, it's like, well, it's iron bark, I guess, for a reason, man. That shit was hard as rocks.
Wow.
It burned great. It had good flavor. And man, it did a little good for me over there. You know what I mean? And the charcoal, same way. I guess they're making it out of iron bark. I don't know. But the charcoal bags were like a kind of like you get deer corn in, like the nylon mesh or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And man, they weighed 100 pounds. I'm like, I can't pick up the charcoal.
Wow.
But yeah, the wood's different, right? I mean, I'm sure they have some sort of oaks, or I don't even know what all different kind of trees they have over there, but man, they got hickory, they ain't got pecan, it's different, right? You're in a different country. Man, and that was eye-opening too, when, man, they don't have USDA, right? We do. And they dictate the cuts and the specs so that we go to the grocery store and we're seeing stuff that's familiar to us, right? The same cuts, like a pork butt and then spare ribs, there's nothing crazy, right? Well, man, I don't know if Australia, if they have that, it's different than ours, right? Because, man, they got Brahma humps. They got most of the teams that are doing on their ribs over there, they're getting like the whole rack of ribs, right? Like the whole side.
Oh, wow.
Oh, spares.
And there's a couple teams they carry around. Grant had his with him. Man, it's a meat saw. I mean, the thing weighed 100 pounds.
Yes.
And and it got a big band, like, and dangerous as hell too. I mean, this blade's just out there. And we're running these ribs through there, like, that looks pretty good, eyeballing them, and then we're cutting our ribs out. And then when you get done with that, man, you got to flip them over and you carve all the bacon off the outside of the ribs to get down to the ribs.
Wow.
So yeah, you're starting from scratch pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Briskets pretty normal, right? They had we cooked John D briskets, and I think we might have cooked another brand. I'm not sure, but I really like the John D's. Man, they were, and to me, like I was working with a snake. I mean, so it's really
as good as anything here.
Nothing really different, right? To me on that aspect.
Did you guys kind of run the same? I mean, you shipped some of your rubs or so, like you.
When I ran my program as close as I possibly could.
Heard.
I don't remember what subs. Like. We sent a bunch of Blues Hog stuff over there and just familiar stuff that we're using over here that we could, run our programs. And in fact, Four Monkeys, I think that's Daniel Barrett's, or he's involved with it, but they have like the glazes or whatever. So like flavor, I think you have pomegranate. And I ran some of that stuff, similar to like a rib candy or whatnot to get on the sweeter side. And then I had all my products over there, so it was pretty, man, I was able to basically run my program.
That's cool, man.
What am I supposed to know what they want in Australia? I have no idea. The only place I know to start is what I would normally do, right? Yep. And man, that's what I did.
It worked.
That's for sure, man. I mean, you definitely pulled a win out. You stole one away from the locals, so I'm sure they were happy to have you guys over there.
Speaking of winning, what was the trophies like for that specific?
Yeah. So, man,
Kangaroo.
Was it
incredibly.
big? Was it glorious? Was it more standard?
Oh no, it was okay. So what they did, this was the first year of the Australian Barbecue Association World Championship, and they intend having that contest every good. In fact, I was texting Grant earlier about, man, it's July 25th and 26th. If any international teams are looking at going next year, and it'll be just outside of Newcastle, which turned out to be one of my favorite places that we visited over there. So yeah, we hope to go back next year. Anyway, what was the question? Where were we at? Sorry.
The trophy. What was the
Right.
trophy?
Yeah. So they intend on doing that annually. Shit. Long story short, man, they made this trophy, and their intent was to make it as close to the World Series baseball trophy. With the flags.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And they made that out of a 2,500 kilogram billet.
That's awesome.
And machine this
Milled all the way.
yes, and man, and it was super heavy, man. I don't know how heavy it was, but it felt like it was 1,000 pounds. So when I win this contest, which, man, I wasn't really expecting to win. I mean, I ain't saying I couldn't, but and you know how this is, you just don't,
You
whatever.
don't know their flavors and stuff, yeah.
Well, no, not really that, but man, I don't know. I don't go into any of them like I've just won this contest, right? And especially when I'm not in my own country. And I had a really good cook on Saturday. Like, man, I felt like my cook Saturday was probably better than my cook on Sunday, and I ended up 11th overall, which, man, was very respectable, right? But it felt like I was a long ways from first. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Carmen going into day 2, and I'm like, man, shit, what are you going to do? You're going to make some Yeah, so we just ran our same program on the next day, which was super hard to do, right? All you want to do is fix the shit you didn't do right on the first day.
Mhm.
It feel like, and man, it just worked out for us. So I guess that was probably why I was like, just cooked as good as I could cook on Saturday. I was 11th, right? And we're gonna cook as good as we can cook on Sunday. And I guess at the time in my brain, man, it just felt like it was gonna be hard to connect those dots. So, man, which was a great surprise, and it was my 7th, right? And you just won this world championship in another country, not on your own turf. Man, it was really cool. And I walk up there, I'm a little numb anyway, right? And I'm pretty deep off in that cold beer as well.
Some Fosters, drink some
yeah.
Fosters.
And man, they hand this trophy, and it's like fucking 1,000 pounds. I'm trying to lift this up. And it's huge, man, and it's just beautiful. That trophy stays there. So I got another trophy that I did take with me, but that stays there at that lodge that they built basically just to have this contest. And they've got 64 nameplates on it. And man, the first one on there is Phil Breeden, so that's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
So
hey, let me yeah, let's say we're getting towards the end, but I wanted to get to some of your products, man. If you don't mind taking time to kind of see how you come up with some of your rubs. Like I personally have had about all of yours, and I'll tell you what, man, I'm really, really impressed with all your stuff. Can you tell everybody kind of a little bit about your products and how you would describe them?
Yeah, for sure. So, man, it wasn't anything I ever really kind of intended on doing. I'm never like, when I first got kind of started with it, it wasn't, man, let me just see if I can make an entire product line. I wasn't very good at cooking chicken when I first started out. So I worked really hard to try to get good at chicken. And man, I had tried a lot of different things and nothing really worked. So, man, I kind of went mad scientist, put my own stuff together and like, fuck, what I got to lose type deal. And man, I really just kind of got lucky. That's ended up becoming Foul Play, right? And I ran that for a couple of years, and I yeah, there you go. And I won a lot of chicken with Foul Play, and ran it for a couple of years. I figured out, like, man, just one day I'm like, man, I ought to sell that. That would be kind of cool. And like I didn't know how to do that, and I reached out to some people. Man, Dennis Butterworth, he's got War Pig, right? He's a good friend of mine, and I'm like, man, we talked about it. He's like, oh yeah, reach it. He kind of pointed me in the right direction and, kind of got me on the right path to where I could get connected with the right folks and figure out that entire thing. Right. And I did. And we released Foul Play, which was super successful. And man, chicken became immediately a lot harder for me to win. So it feels like it still is, right? So, but it's still super cool to see so many people, right, use your product that you created and see them win with it is super cool. And man, that just kind of spurred on, like, in my mind, like, naturally, well, shit, man, we should probably work on another injection. And man, I went to work on beef. Play bull was our next, and naturally, man, we go to pork, boss
which
hog,
is amazing, by the way. I love that injection.
Thank you. And just kind of progressed from there. And once I kind of got that mindset, I have this and that. I guess it's where it really started thinking, man, I want to build an entire product line, right? And what I really wanted to do was, man, build that product line how I wanted to build it. Man, I just did it, kind of. I obviously wanted something I could go out there and win with. And I vet all my stuff on the trail, right? There's lots of really good products I feel like I had that I couldn't get to hit, that, man, we just got to throw on the shelf, even though I think it's good, man, I couldn't vet it, right? So that's how I built the product line. We've got 6 rubs. We've got
Rawhide. It's one of my favorite all-purpose rubs, man. It's fantastic.
I appreciate it.
Put that on everything.
Yeah, man. Salt, pepper, garlic, onion. Man, you got that MSG in there. Everything pops. Pretty much replacing the salt and pepper in our house. Right, Carmen cooks with it all the time. It's the base on most all of our meats. Super versatile. Yeah, we've tried to cover all the injections, and we have. Even I'm working on some more, but yeah, now the focus is, man, I'm working on sauce now. It's been avoiding the line for a lot of years. I've worked on it for a few years, off and on, and then I've really recently picked that back up the past couple of months. I've been, man, every Tuesday or Wednesday I'll cook sauce for my contest. So I'm cooking it in the kitchen, and just got the little scales measuring everything out. And
what goes in that sauce, by the way?
43.1 grains of black pepper. So I'll give you one thing. I'll know, right? But I've been running that for over a month now, just tweaking week to week, right? Exactly what I think as far as viscosity is really important to me, the way it cooks on. And man, I want to take them in quite a few different directions, but not too far in any of them. And anyway, it's kind of the sauce that I'm developing and what I want to run, right? And man, I ran this past weekend. It did really well. We got a first place perfect pork. We hit 5th chicken, 6th brisket, and man, we got chingled in the ribs. Man, we hit a table that didn't appreciate good ribs, so
bunch of vegans.
Yeah, and I ran that on all my meats, man. So I'm trying to. I want it to be versatile, and man, anything that is going to end up being stamped with LC barbecue, you can bet your ass I'll stand behind it, and it's a product I'm going to run. That's what I built it for. So
real quick about the co-packing, and because you are scientific, like you're getting it to where you want, and that process. I'll say A, B, not even C, familiar with it, but from what I've heard of all those who I know and close talkings, how close of the co-packers and the process thereof, from what you send them to what ends up there, it's your final say so, obviously, but are you ever like, oh man, I wish it was this, or that's even better, or like what's that ratio to what you send in and their final?
Well, that can vary a lot, right? It depends on your packer, for one, right? And depending on who you go to, if it's something you want to get into, man, that relationship with your packer is going to, man, dictate a lot of your success. If I would suggest this, and this is what I do, man, I'll tell my guy, man, I've got a case of 50 different products, and it's the brands that he uses, right? So then I bring that to my shop, and that's my test kitchen, and that's the seasoning that I'm using to do mine, right? So that when that's stamped and it's final, man, I don't have to worry about him picking one of the different 600 types of black pepper there are, right?
Yeah.
So that can help with your accuracy when you're developing, and use the same seasonings and spices that your packer's using. If you're not doing that, well, you could have some variance, and that's what's going to lead to if you're just ordering off of Amazon or going to the grocery
Mhm.
store. Right, you're going to have some variances in flavors. If that's something you want to get to, the way I like to do it is, man, everything's in weight. Man, I have a gram scale and I have a grain scale, which is like, I don't know, 15 to 16 grains in a gram. So man, if you're measuring out bay leaf, man, you're not going to it's not going to register on the gram scale until you got way too much.
Correct.
And then make really good notes, right? So record all your ingredients, exact weights, and then it's replicable. That's something you can send to your packer and, hey, blend this. And you obviously blended it. Man, depending on the ingredients, simpler stuff. And you get into the paprikas, man, there's a lot of different smoked paprikas, a lot of different brands, and then you got variances. So if you're using his stuff, you shouldn't have any variances. Should come back pretty much nails.
No, I've talked to several folks who have made or heard stories of, or they used to be able to source this and that's no longer available. And that was a, 7% ingredient in your product.
It does happen.
Yeah.
It does. And especially when COVID wasn't very fun to go through, and nobody in the country could get shakers, right? Could get shakers. And that just goes down the list to different ingredients, triple and quadruple in prices, right? Yeah, it was kind of a nightmare, especially through COVID. And it seems like the variances and a lot of that's calmed down a lot, right? So it's predictable, and we're not waiting on that phone to ring going, shit, what happened? Well, what's the problem now? It wasn't very fun times to go through. For sure.
Well, and to me, it matters because when you have your shaker, when you have this, and by no means am I saying that, the 50s, hundreds of other folks who are in this business and have their aspiration and their work in a shaker bottle, but it does to me matter that they're not, because we also know those people are out there who shig somebody else's rub, and B, buy the private label, right?
Yeah.
But folks who are taking core ingredients, mad scienting, in their kitchen. Hey, like I remember when I came up with one of my recipes for the food truck, and I cooked 40, 50 pork butts, adding one little tiny thing. I can only imagine what your neighbors or your wife or whoever, like, this sample. No. Oh, it's 2% more Worcestershire. I mean, because every little tweak across the board matters to that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a lot less of the here, try this, because you're going to get a lot of opinions, right?
Yeah.
No,
no one's going to tell you free food. Everybody's going to say it's good.
All of a sudden, when you ask somebody, "Hey, man, try this. What do you think?" If it's your neighbor, especially,
it's the best.
Man, they turn on this this mode clicks in of like, oh, well, I'm the judge now. Like, I think could use a little bit more, and it's just like, perfect, And now they're sitting there like, I don't know, and I asked 5 different people, and they're all telling me different shit. Of like, oh man, so I just kind of typically do whatever I think, right? And man, I'm running them out there in competitions, and I'm getting feed. I'm either winning them or I'm not, So if I'm not, man, long story short, they ain't liking it. Man, it's a subjective sport. That's never going to change.
Well, it's like you go to your neighbors and ask them like, "Hey, what's this? What's that? What's your opinion?" And these guys are running McCormick's, rubs and stuff on their meats when they cook. So I'm like, I mean, that's all. Like, I got to the point now, especially when it comes to competition barbecue, the only taste opinions that matter to me is like my fellow cooks, and like a small number of them, because they're the ones that's going to tell you, I mean, no, it kind of sucks, their taste burn, or the chew's weird and stuff like that. And then the normal person doesn't know what the hell that is.
No. Oh, it ain't bad. You just got to take it with a grain of salt, in my opinion. Like, and it's so different than a comp for me. If you get if you get your sheet back, I'm just looking for nuggets in there, right? You're going to get a lot of comments that don't really mean anything, but if you get, man, one, and then you get one the next week that was right similar to that, man, I'm memory banking those, even if they worded it different. Maybe it's on tenderness and it's a mush comment, or it's too peppery, right? I know I just try to take those and pull nuggets out of it to make my adjustments. And it ain't no different from your neighbor. Like if they said something, man, memory bank, you ask 3 more neighbors and another one said something to that same effect, then you got a trend. So, but it is subjective, right? They grew up, eating their dad's barbecue or their grandpa's barbecue, right? And man, they're gonna ever. And whatever that early in life flavor was,
that's what they.
Man, that's gonna bring you back to childhood memories that are fun, right? And you're gonna like that, man. Maybe it was some char, right? My mom, I know my
Sweet
mom
baby Ray's
loved her dad. My grandpa was cooking, and he had the barrel cut in half that you make a lid, and man, every Sunday he was barbecuing. He's putting that KP char on there. Give him some char, So, oh shit.
No.
Real quick, not to double back to another question, but you'd mentioned the trophy from.
There you go. I'm bottle killing tonight, like I told you, Phil. I'm almost there.
You're yakking. I feel like I'm behind.
I'm almost. You got to catch up, boy. Can't keep up with the Kentucky boys.
The trophy that stays in.
Do we have any donations yet? I'll take another.
Well, hey, you can't hide Wes Garrett money. I see you on there. Come on, Wes Garrett. The trophy that stays in Australia, aside from that one, which I'm gonna say for you is unique or special.
Yeah, for sure.
Aside from an RV, what's I forgot about the RV. That's when you're winning. When you forget about an RV. what's
I forgot you won. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot the RV. Way to go, Clark. Trophy. It's beautiful.
Man, keep naming them, Matt. You're on a roll, man.
They call me Butter.
Matt sounds like a fanboy over here. Like, oh, yeah.
I don't reach out for no reason. I gawk from afar.
Yeah, we've got a lot of, probably favorites. Man, I too. Man, I do have quite a few trophies in the bedroom. Just logistically, we don't have a huge house or whatever, and the shop's kind of full. But
you hear that flex? You hear that flex? It's like, I mean, we got one or two trophies.
The shop is also small. Okay, look,
shop's a little full. I mean,
I don't know how else to relate that information. But man, I've got a couple barrel heads in the bedroom, and then I've got the banjo. The banjo at Banjo Q was super cool, right? I've got a one Booby Q. That's a cook-off in Texas in Tomball, and it's a bronzed veterans combat boot with an American flag in it, like that's dog tags, So that's super special. I don't know, babe. What else we got? Where's that RV at?
Yeah, but do you have an apple?
Hold on. Here's my one flex. Can we get a promise from LC BBQ and Small Batch to go after one of these in 2025?
Oh, I'm getting an apple.
Yeah.
Are you coming to Murfreesboro, Phil?
Man, I won't promise because I like to keep my promise.
Oh, come on.
And I don't mean it that way, but that's a long ways away. And there was something else. What was that weekend? Was that the same one they had the Arkansas, the 50K? Or
yeah. It was the Arkansas weekend. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, man,
which has been Wes
I would imagine in the next few years I'll hit that contest because, man,
you're on the clock. 2 years. 2 years. We need you, brother. Come on. We need you.
If I'm in the country.
Oh, wow. Lucky Charms International.
When is it? What month is that contest?
It's September. It's usually like second week.
Yeah.
Third week in September.
Man, it's a good one. It's a really good one.
I'll be in the country then, because that June to August is my sweet. Reed's out of school. We travel and do some of that stuff.
If you get to Jackson, Mississippi, okay, or you get to Nashville, Tennessee, the rest is taken care of for you. I know good folks.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. Shit. Right, all right. Hey, look, I can be talked into a lot of shit. All right. y'all keep it in front of my face. I will do it.
We know some people.
Whoa. This is a family-friendly show, Phil. We ain't talking about all that.
No, listen, man. Phil,
I can tell I was picking up on those vibes. My bad.
that one little piece of glass over there was the paramount of my entire 2024 season. It does make Logan a little but I just, man, I was
man,
pumped.
I was more excited than you were.
Yeah.
Because
I wasn't
happy for
expecting
you.
it. I was expecting it in brisket because I had into brisket that day, but I'll take it pork second to smoking ghost barbecue, so might as well be first for me.
I'll take it for the biggest dump of the weekend. I don't care. Like, they give me an apple, I want an apple. That's all. Whatever it takes.
Man, that first place brisket barrelhead is pretty damn cool.
Oh man, listen,
barrelhead's on my list too. I want an apple and a barrelhead.
So
bad.
You may or may not remember, but I actually high-fived you as you were walking down. I cut in across. You were coming up. Darren was on the left. I was just a little bit before, and I was.
You're right in the middle. You're right in the middle.
Right there, man. But I was pumped for it because
immediately it was a little bit of a blur.
Oh no, for sure. But immediately after I heard, I was like, surprise! A guy from Texas winning first place brisket at the Jack. Like, duh. But no, man, I was pumped for you. Other folks who got calls that day. And as you said, Jack is just that special.
For sure.
And you just don't know how many chances. That's the way I look at it. I just don't know how many chances I'll get to cook the Jack. So it's pretty special when I get to.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, this is the time of show where it's time for a lightning round brought to you by Brothers Q Barbecue Supply. Check out Brothers Q Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue needs. And I do, if Gareth, the man, the myth, the legend, let me know. You can also pick up LC barbecue rubs and brines and injections at Brothers Q Barbecue Supply now. But yeah, so this is the time we're gonna ask you a few questions. Like I said, short answers. Don't think too hard. Drink up. It gets better. I get prettier at least. Like I said, I'm almost got this bottle down, so you're getting prettier by the minute. I promise you. But no, man. Like I said, and whenever you're ready, we'll get going.
Let's go.
You good? All right, let's do it, man. All right, man. In the state of Texas, man, who are you cheering for? Is it the Texans or the Cowboys?
Texas.
Texans. All right, fair enough. He likes
next week's gonna be rough.
I could care less. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It don't
matter. All right, I'll hit you with another.
And as soon as Brett Favre retired, man, I pretty much was done with football.
You sound like John Madden. Brett Favre.
I've never seen guys throw the ball like that.
If the offense scores more than the defense, then the offense wins.
And he come over across the street like that.
Where's my turducken? No. honest to God, the only reason I ever realized what turducken was John Madden. I think that's a lot of America. I mean, I remember that Thanksgiving. Anyways, moving on. That's right. If you're gonna, I think I know this answer. If you're gonna do a vacation, you gonna go to the mountains or the beach?
Mountains. That's easy.
There you go. He said, "I'm tired of this warm weather."
If I go to the beach, it's gonna be in the winter.
Fair enough. All right, man. In your competition, when you're at a competition, what is one thing you always have with you and you cannot say your thermometer?
Hand drench.
All right, fair enough. All right. I know CB.
My beer salt. I'm drinking beer, so I'm gonna have some beer salt. You'll see a little shaker rolling around.
I know a CBA, they do a walk-up song. So, like I said, I'd say it. When you have a competition, what was your walk-up song?
Sober Sunday.
Sober Sunday. All right, man. All right, last question, man. Last question. If you're going out for a barbecue dinner in the state of Texas, which one's the best?
Burnt bean.
God, that's a clean sweep of all the. So we did a Texas month, and I think everybody we had on here from the state of Texas has said Ernest. Ernest is the creme de la creme in the state of Texas.
Man, I've probably only eaten a dozen of them or so, but man, Ernest is, man, he's got some special stuff going on there. And
I hear the breakfast is where it's at.
It's all where it's at. And if you don't like to eat barbecue, it'll make you like to eat barbecue.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, burnt bean is like on like numero uno on my list when I do my my tour of the Texas.
It's 30 minutes from San Antonio. That has an international airport.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, man, Phil, that that is all I have for you tonight, man. I truly appreciate you coming on. I know you just announced that your ambassador program is taking requests. I'm sure you're getting filled up with emails and
yeah, man, it's been great. We've had great response. Man, really looking forward to that. It's been a long time coming. So I've been, trying to figure out exactly how to put together over the past few years. And I knew this year I had given it some serious thought for a couple months, and I've just been busy with like a lot of different stuff. And I dedicated some time last week to get that off the ground. So we're excited to do that. And applications are live on the website right now, lcbbqshop.com, and through the 12th. And we'll be making those announcements on the 16th.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck to everyone who has signed up, and congratulations. Like I said, man, definitely a good brand to represent and great ambassador to the sport. And I truly appreciate it, man. Let people know where they can find you. And also, you're also a host of another popular barbecue show. So, I mean, give you a little shout out there too. So let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, appreciate that. As far as products, man, hopefully we're in your favorite retailer. If we're not, man, reach out to us or reach out to them and tell them to reach out to us. We love to be in partner with our retailers directly, lcbbqshop.com. Social media, man, LC BBQ on Facebook, Instagram, Philip Breeden on Facebook. A lot of people message me there. And man, check out the Chicken Fried show on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time.
After you watch the Right on Cue on Mondays at 7.
That's right. Right on Cue on Monday and roll it straight into Chicken Fried on Tuesday. Man, keep them livers primed.
Yeah, keep them livers prime, and save some of the tips for Phil's OnlyFans page, Lucky Charms.
That's where the real money's at.
That's where the real money's at, man.
Apparently $43 million.
Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, yep. I'm gonna leave it there for 43 million. Yeah, I'll show a lot of things.
Everybody has their prize.
Hey, 43 million is mine.
But yeah, it was fun. Thanks,
I really appreciate it, man. Hopefully I get to see you on the trail sometime, and I'll see you in Murfreesboro. Yeah, Murfreesboro, man. Come check it out.
Man, we got 730 days to pull it off.
That's okay. We'll take it.
All right, see you, Phil, man. Thanks so much, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Later. That was fun, man. I love talking to these Texas boys. They're always good.
Oh, listen, it's a different breed. It's authentic. It's as matter of a fact. And if for nobody who's ever been to Texas, which is fine, but when you cross the state line, you're almost in this encapsulation of pride, of genuineness, of it's Texas first and then everything else. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a craze to me. I tell people I'm from Miami, which is located in Florida.
Oh, is that where it's at? I don't know. It's Miami, Arkansas, or some of those gay,
or Ohio, or the Pennsylvania one, or but folks who are nobody's from Dallas, nobody's from Junction,
Mavs.
They are from Texas.
Yes.
So
you take away the shitty football, and it's an amazing state, man. It's an amazing state.
They make good-looking wives down there. I've heard. I don't know.
I mean, I'll give you the cheerleaders, man. Y'all cheerleaders are not bad, not bad. But no, man. Well, that's our show, man. I truly appreciate you guys signing on and listening to us. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight, and I really appreciate that. And if you haven't, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on anywhere you can consume a podcast: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. If you haven't done it, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Santa's watching. Don't disappoint.
Playing with fire.
That's right, man. That's right. If you don't want some good charcoal in your stockings this year, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us, man. But yep, that's all we got tonight, man. Matt, thank you so much for hopping on, buddy. It's always a good time hanging with you.
Absolutely.
So on that cue, when it comes to barbecue, make sure you're always right on cue. See you, ladies. Deuces.
That's all, folks.